ready. This is going to be exciting.
And the Geico restarts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome everyone to the Goat Locker Racing MK Fire Design Sports Car Series presented by MK Fire Design and Zach Graphics, right here on VSPEED, your #1 source for online race coverage. This race is being brought to you by MK Fire Design, custom maker of wooden flags, hats, hoodies, and shirts. And also being brought to you by Zach Graphics. We can put your design on almost anything. And Save 22. Fighting first responder and veteran suicide. I'm Ken Huber. I'm running this thing solo tonight in the booth. I've got Tim Jones, our producer, running the show downstairs, and our cameras are being provided by Dougie Beard tonight. So tonight is going to be an interesting race. As I mentioned before, I'm here by myself. We've had 2 race winners. This is our 3rd race of the season. We're here at VIR, Virginia International Raceway. We've had 2 separate winners. Here's our schedule right now. Like I said, here on 9/13, we're running Virginia. It's going to be an exciting race tonight. Next week, we're at Road Atlanta, where I'll be with you again. And then Long Beach, Daytona. We're going to wrap the season finale out with Monza. So that is our schedule for the season. Like I said, 3rd race of the season, and the points are starting up. We got a leader in the points. Tyler Merritt currently is leading in the points with Jeremy Gardner sitting in 2nd place. Tyler Merritt has 1 win, where Jeremy Gardner doesn't have any wins on the season. However, I can tell you that Jeremy Gardner, this is one of his stronger tracks, so look for Jeremy Gardner running up front tonight as he did last week at Watkins Glen. But we also have another winner on the series, a new player out there, Carterman, who currently had a race win last week at Watkins Glen in a Mustang. I'm not sure I see him out there tonight. I'm looking for him right now. One of our race winners, yeah, it doesn't look like he's out there right now, but the schedule's getting excited. Travis Stevens wraps out your top 3 in the points. Tyler Justice and Eddie Smith will wrap out your top 5. Anyway, tonight we are looking for an exciting race here at VIR, so why don't we talk about Virginia International Raceway. Virginia International Raceway is a 3.27-mile world-class road course located in Alton, Virginia, revered by drivers, enthusiasts, and it's known for its picturesque and challenging layout, which includes significant elevation changes, blind crests, and high-speed straights. Opened in 1957, VIR was founded by a group of car enthusiasts and opened as one of the first permanent road course racing circuits in the United States. The legendary Carroll Shelby won the first feature race in a Maserati 450S. The track thrived for over a decade but closed in 1974 due to the oil crisis in 1973. Investors then purchased the overgrown abandoned farmland in 1998 with the vision of creating a modern motorsports resort. The track was repaved and widened, and resort amenities were added, and it reopened in 2000 to great acclaim. Today, VIR is acclaimed multi-purpose facility with resort-style amenities, including lodging and dining options. So there you have it. That's VIR. Very excited to be here at Virginia tonight. Now you're looking at some footage of VIR during the day, but it's not going to look like this. We are currently under rainy conditions. These guys are qualifying in the rain and in the dark. So this race is going to be run with headlights only. And we're not sure what the weather forecast is. Totally, it's supposed to stop raining by the end of qualifying, but I imagine It looks like it's already stopped raining a little bit out there as we're following this car going around the track. It's so dark. This is Logan Threlkeld in the 30 car as he's making his way around the track. As we just got we got a couple minutes left in qualifying, seeing what these guys can do. So our race length tonight will be 1 hour. The pit road speed is 37 miles per hour with unlimited tire sets available. You can see a little bit of spray there coming off the back of that Porsche. One fast repair, 50% fuel with an iRacing fixed setup. Now I mentioned the 50% fuel. One thing that's a little bit different about what we do here at Goat Locker and in this series is they'll start with the 50% fuel load, but they are able to fill up the tank all the way on the first stop. So what that basically means is these guys, after about 2 laps, will be able to come in if they wish and top that car off and make it to the end of the race. The only disadvantage of that, of course, is if you come in early and top off that tank, you might be a little heavy and it'll slow your lap times down. So I don't expect to see anyone really on pit lane until about the halfway mark as we're watching Warren Clayton go around the track right now. You can see the spray still coming off those cars right now. You can see the 117 Warren Clayton. It looks like he is in the McLaren and getting it done tonight. Currently, I'm looking for where Warren Clayton is currently qualified. I don't see him. He's way down the list right now, currently running in 18th. This is an open qualifying session, so that's why you see other cars on the track. So guys are trying to make their way around as they go around Oak Tree and down the backstretch here. Anyways, it's kind of exciting to be in here with Goat Locker tonight. Tim Jones, like I said, producing this thing. It's going to be quite a wild race. I don't know. I project that we will start with maybe a damp track, and it's going to be interesting whether these guys are going to start on wets or dries. Right now, the weather forecast, I'm just going to take a quick peek at that and see what we're looking at. Yeah, the rain has basically moved out, so these guys are just dealing with a wet track, and they'll have about, I don't know, 30 to 45 minutes of sim time where they'll be able to sit out and let that track dry. We're going to go immediately to gridding when that happens, but about 30 to 45 minutes of sim time will have passed, so that track is going to be maybe just a little damp. So it'll be interesting if anybody's going to start on dries or wets, as we've got about 25 seconds left in qualifying. We're watching Logan Threlkeld right now. Back following him around in this Porsche. It looks like he's on the backstretch. Yeah, getting ready to go through roller coaster here. This is a roller coaster where it's a downhill section where you got a left-hander, then a right-hander, and then a sweeping left-hander again. As you go through Hog Pen, which is this right-hander here, it's a series of a couple of turns, and they call this Hog Pen. And this will lead him onto the front stretch. And as soon as he comes around the corner here, you'll see the entrance to pit lane, which is very immediate. So these guys will be getting on the brake right there. You can see they just pull off to the right to get to pit lane, and it's a pretty quick transition to that pit lane. So as we're watching our qualifying wrap up here, it looks like, we still got a couple minutes left. So probably a few cars left out on the track looking to get faster times in. So as I mentioned last week, we had a new winner who isn't in the race tonight, which is a little unfortunate. That was, I believe that was Carterman. Yeah, Carterman won the race last week in a Mustang. Won't be here to. Is he in? So I'm looking. Oh, Jed Carter. Yeah, Jed Carterman. Yeah, he is in. So. Well, I'm glad he made it. So I've been talking smack, and he's right here in the race. So a little bit behind right now, trying to catch up out here all by my lonesome. So it's good to see him. He was last week's winner. And then prior to that, we had Tyler Merritt. These two guys are very fast, so these guys are going to be competing. But one guy I want to talk about is Jeremy Gardner. Now, Jeremy Gardner, I've raced here at this track now. He lives in the area. He is very familiar with this track. He's raced this track in real life, I believe, on motorcycles. And so he's always been fast here. So I'm going to be looking for him in this race as time progresses. So we'll see what these guys have. But we also have some other guys. Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith currently sitting in 11th for qualifying. We'll see how he does when qualifying ends. But Eddie Smith won our Summer Series championship by the skin of his teeth. So he's had the first race was a little bit rough for him, but the second race he was able to get into the top 5, I believe, or close to it. So he's running 5th in points right now. So, Eddie Smith is going to want to bring something to this race. And then Tyler Justice, our third place in, or fourth place in points currently. We'll see what he has for these guys tonight too. So yeah, it's quite exciting here. A couple of the corners I'm going to talk about here. This track is, I want to say it's technical. Well, let me put it this way. So there's going to be a hard braking zone going into turn 1. And if the track's still wet, these guys, and that particular turn is called Horseshoe, and it lives up to its name. And if the track's still wet, it's going to be an interesting start to this race. If the track's dry, it should be pretty clean. I think these guys, after last week, it was such an exciting race. I think we're going to see the same thing. So I expect pretty good behavior going into 1 and 2. And then turn 3, of course, is called NASCAR Bend. By then, these guys will start getting things sorted out as they head into the snake. But we're about to find out as we're about to set our grid in about the next 5 or 6 seconds. So we'll tell you who got the pole. All right, here is our starting grid. Our Jam Promotions and Printing Pole Award winner is Logan Threlkeld in that 30 Porsche. Great job getting that pole there tonight there, Logan. So starting on his outside will be Derek Turhams. So new driver to Goat Locker Racing. Glad to have him on board. On the inside, Joseph McWhorter in the 73 will qualify in third with Christopher Ghosh starting that 91 in fourth position. And in fifth will be Nathan Graham with Tyler Merritt on his outside. And in sixth position, we have Brian Provo, no stranger to the road course, starting in that 08 with Jeremy Gardner on his outside in that 8th position. Starting in 9th will be Kyle St. John. In the 55 was Samuel Egg. In the 243 on his outside. In the 11th position will be Eddie Smith. And starting on his outside will be Jake Ham. Starting in 13th will be Samuel Yosef, with Rob Kubat starting on the outside in 14th. Starting in 15th will be Travis Stevens, and on his outside will be Jason Black. Starting in 17th will be Brandon McDonald, who is fastest in practice. I'm surprised to see him back there in 17th. Speaking of Brandon McDonald, he actually has to serve a drive-through penalty, so one of the fastest guys in practice will have to do a drive-through at the start of this race, so I expect to see him one of the first couple of guys on pit lane. Jamie Lepke will start on his outside in 18th with Warren Clayton in 19th. Well, on his outside will be Michael Arachi in 20th. And starting in 21st will be Bobby Germain with Jed Carterman, last week's winner, starting in 22nd. These are some surprising results. Starting in 23rd, Brian Faheiger, starting in 23rd, and 24th will be Brandon Wallace. In the 82, Jason Kristen will start on the outside with Joshua Unger on his outside, starting in 26th. 27th will be Alexander Sexhauer with Brock Price on his outside. And I think, in 29th will be Kevin Price, and in 30th will be Noah Hogard. And our last qualifier will be Matthew Glisson in the 515, and that's our 31 car field tonight. So big field tonight. Going to be lots of action here. They've rolled off, and we can see the headlights now. Logan Threlkeld will lead them to the green flag. They're just now coming through, it looks like NASCAR corner here. But all we see is headlights, and there is a little bit of wetness on the track. I'm just looking at the tire situation right now, and it looks like everybody's on wets with the exception of Kevin Price, who's in second place right now. So that's an interesting choice. So a lot of guys opted for the wet tires, except for, let me just check something here. Oh, no, I got it sorted out. So Derek Turhams out there, everybody's on wet tires. Samuel Yosef is the first guy on dry tires back there in 13th. So just want to check the track conditions. It's declared wet, but it's only lightly wet. So now it's going to be a tough choice for anybody that stayed out on those dries as they're coming down through the snake. This is called the snake area of the track. It kind of is a bunch of X sections as they go uphill. And you can see them weave back and forth behind the pace truck. As they come up the hill, they've got a tricky left-hander up here that's kind of blind. And you'll see probably a lot of, right here, you'll see a lot of maybe off tracks as they come around the corner here, as this is a blind corner when you're up to speed. And they come down the hill, and this brings us to the next section of the track where the oak tree used to be. So they'll make a right-hander here and then a second right-hander. And right here at this corner, there used to be a tree. And that tree got old and started falling down. They had to cut it down, and it's no longer there. Still a beautiful track, but it was one of those features of this track that made it really special down here as they come down the backstretch. So this is a great passing opportunity. If you can get a run past oak tree on the guy ahead of you and maybe use some of that toe and some of that arrow to get by these guys, we'll see what we can do as we ride along here. As you can see a little bit of spray coming off these cars. This is Jason Black in the 68. Jason Black currently running in about, I'm just taking a look here. He is in the 16th position as we're riding back along with Logan Threlkeld. So Jason Black, you can see a little bit of spray coming off these cars. Now when these cars get up to speed, it is going to be blinding spray at first and under the light. So it's going to be very difficult to see. I expect it's going to take 10-15 minutes before this track probably gets dry enough where you stop seeing the spray, and that's probably when we'll start seeing pit stops, because these guys are going to want to get these wet tires off this car as soon as they can. So they're coming down to Hogpin here. We're about to turn them loose, and we're about to have a green flag as we're riding along with our second place qualifier, Derek Tyrums, with Jason Threlkeld is going to lead him to the green flag coming around Hogpin here. I expect to see that truck dip off into pit lane, and we're going to turn them loose. And it takes a little minute before they get to the green flag, and the flag man is out there. He's prepping them for this start. And we are just about green flag, and they're away as we watch Logan Threlkeld lead them down into turn one. Let's see how good these guys can get on the brakes here on these wet conditions. You can see Threlkeld, oh, they're going to go 3 wide here. They're going to split Threlkeld. No, Threlkeld gets it. We look a little bit further back in the field. Back on Threlkeld there. We can see him get around turn one. Headed to North NASCAR Bend here. He's going to have the advantage. He's going to take first. He's got Tyrums right behind him. Tyrums, yep. So we're watching Threlkeld, Tyrums. Everybody gets single file now. They're getting ready to go into this back section of the track. Go through the S's. So this is a tricky part. This is where you don't want to get on the throttle too early. This is kind of misleading. Now everybody can throttle up as they go into the snake section here of the track and head uphill. And Threlkeld is stepping away right now in the rain. Oh, we got a car off track right now. That's a 43. That's Brock Price. You can see he's spun that car, trying to get that car turned around. As we are back here with Brock Price back on the track, and he's rejoined this race. Oh, there, no, it's another review of this incident. He just got loose, and it looks like he didn't have any contact with any car. Just another car there behind him going through the grass, probably avoiding a slow car. So there you have it. We're with still with Brock Price as he gets around. It looks like we're up here with Derek Tyrums back here in second as they go up the hill. They're going through the section called Roller Coaster here. This is another tricky part. He's under threat right now with McWhorter in the 73. McWhorter normally known for oval racing. I haven't seen him out here on the road. Oh, as we went to him, oh, he just spun that thing right going through the roller coaster. So tough break with that Mustang for Joseph McWhorter. So he's waiting for all these cars to pass right now. You can see him back there just waiting. Oh, we see some more cars sliding around. That looks like the Corvette of Jeremy Gardner. Yeah, it is. Jeremy Gardner coming down the front stretch here, right past pit lane. Jeremy Gardner up to 5th place right now. So as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Jeremy Gardner's got a lot of experience, real life experience on this track. So I expect him to make his way up to the front. We got a couple. Yeah, I expect Jeremy Gardner to make his way up front here. You know, rain is one of those unexpected things that maybe that's why he started back as far as he did. But making that Corvette look good right now. Like I said, currently running in 5th, but he's under pressure with Provo right behind him. Another fine road racers. We got another car off track here. So that looks like Joseph McWhorter. We're under green flag. He's just now rejoined the racing surface. And we're back live with McWhorter. So McWhorter all the way back. Oh, yeah. Sorry, we're back under replay. This is what happens when you're out here broadcasting by yourself. So, but anyway, we'll get it right by the end of this race, I hope. Now we're live with McWhorter. So McWhorter, we're going to move him back to quite a few as we watch the 38th. Oh, the 38. Rob Kubat takes a hard hit into the tire barrier, automatically throws that thing pit lane. So that's a tough break for Kubat. We're watching Eddie Smith right now, currently running in 6th. Getting that Porsche, wheeling that Porsche around. Eddie Smith had a good run last week, making it into the top 5 or top 6. He's currently running in 6th. Tyler Merritt's just ahead of him, and Nathan Graham in that 05 car just behind him. Nathan Graham, a strong road course racer in his own right. Looks like he's currently running the Ford Mustang. So I think last time I ran Nathan, I'm not sure what car he was in. I want to say the McLaren. But oh, we got another car off track just behind those guys. Another car going off into the tire barrier. These guys are struggling with these wet conditions. So that's Warren Clayton in the 117. You can see. So we're going to take another look at this, see exactly what happened here. But I think this is just getting over your skis in the wet. Yeah, so he came into that braking zone, and I think just a little too hot, and didn't have nothing for those wet tires to get to him slowed down before he made that corner. So while that was all going on, we have a new leader, Derek Tierams. Somehow is up in first place. I'm not sure what happened to Threlkeld. Threlkeld's all the way back in 15th right now. So we had an incident while we're watching those other incidents with Logan Threlkeld, our race leader, has given up that lead. Not sure what happened there. So I imagine Threlkeld's going to be pretty disappointed. He was strong last week, and he still continues to drop through the field. So I have a feeling Threlkeld has made his way to pit lane. And just taking a look here. No, he's back quite a ways, just dropping positions right now. As we're looking at Samuel Egg get around this thing in the 243. Samuel Egg, also another good road course racer, currently running in that 8th position. Sees in the Porsche, popular car in the rain. A lot of guys like to run the Porsche. They feel a little bit safer in the rain. I personally kind of like the Corvette in the rain for some reason. As we look back here at Jason Black currently running in the Lambo with Christopher Ghosh just in front of him, getting a little squirrely. Looks like Christopher Ghosh. Yeah, Christopher Ghosh getting off track there in that BMW. Struggling right now. It looks like he's got a tire down on the, looks like the right front there is down on that car. So you know he's going to be headed to pit lane. So he is backing everybody up behind him right now, struggling to keep that car on the track as they head down the backstretch. You can see everybody trying to get by. Brian Provo going by in the 08 currently. He's trying to get up that speed. I hope that he can keep that car under control as they enter this next braking zone, the roller coaster coming up here. As they go uphill here, headed up to the top of the hill. This is called the roller coaster. Like I said before, this is a quick downshift. And then you want to make your last shift right before you make this right-hand turn right here. As we watch Irachi, and it's going to take me a while to get that name down, but as he goes through that car or that corner in the 62, we're following along with him. And going through Hogpen here, and it looks like everybody gets through there pretty decent. So they're going 2 and 3 wide here, down the front stretch and by pit lane here. And we're watching Irachi. God, I'm screwing up this name a lot. Irachi. I'll get it eventually. So they go into turn 1 here, turn 2, and kind of settle this battle out and get back to single file. Now we're looking at St. John, currently running the number 55 Corvette, getting through the last couple of corners here as they head into the snake. And they get up on the throttle here, and in the rain, I can still see a lot of water spray. So the track is still quite wet, quite damp. Still showing, matter of fact, I want to take a look at that, still lightly wet. So, you know, as soon as we start seeing a little bit less spray, you know, these guys probably be looking for dry. Oh, just another car off and into the tire barrier through. That was a tough break there for, we'll find out who that was as they're trying to get that car straightened out and back on the track. It is dark. There we go. So that looks like the Lamborghini of Jason Black, 68. We're going to take another look at this. As he come around the corner here, you can see that he just came out of NASCAR going through this section of the track headed to Snake, and it just looks like he loses the rear end and around it goes, maybe hit the curb. Oh, and a little bit of contact there with that BMW of Brian Provo. So, the Mustang of Brian Provo. So, Brian Provo involved in an incident. I don't know if he sustained a lot of damage. I think he was pretty hard on the brakes. But Brian Provo, you know, at this point, a lot of these guys can go in and get fuel and make it the rest of the way. The only problem is tires. As we watch another guy off in the grass. Oh, Jeremy Gardner, one of the favorites out here tonight. Jeremy Gardner off the track, headed to pit lane. So this is going to be interesting. So Jeremy Gardner is going to go ahead and take his pit stop now. I imagine he's going to take dries, which is going to be a risky move. Track is still lightly wet. We'll see if he takes dries. We're looking at Christopher Ghosh right now. Coming down the track here, going into the roller coaster, making a pass here. And it looks like, yeah, he's running in the BMW. I'm not sure if he made that pass or is trying to make that pass as they come down through the roller coaster headed to Hogpen. And looking at the spray coming off that BMW here in the dark. So makes a race interesting to call. Now we're looking at 6 hour here. Getting around the track, see what. Now we're up on Brandon Wallace. Brandon Wallace in the 99 car. It looks like he is in the Acura as they go down the front stretch, making a run on the Corvette here. I just want to look at something, just checking my timing and scoring here at Brandon Wallace. So he's got Alexander Sexhauer just ahead of him as they enter turn one here. Good. Oh, Sexhauer just in front of him there. Gets a little sideways, but I believe he was able to hang on to it. Oh, no, he didn't. So he's off the track, brings it back on. He got a little bit of grass there. He caught a little bit of that rear tire on that wet grass, and that set him around. But he didn't lose. He only lost one position, so hats off to him for that. As we look at Eddie Smith, it looks like he's under pressure. Samuel Egg going around Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith looks really slow on the track right now. I'm not sure why, or maybe he just let him by, but Samuel Egg gains that position on Eddie Smith. Yeah, and Nathan Graham just past Eddie Smith as well. So I'm not sure if there's a problem with that Porsche with Eddie Smith, or he's got some damage and maybe an incident that we weren't aware of and maybe got some tire damage. We'll see if he heads to pit lane. Car looks intact, but of course it's dark. But Eddie Smith going backwards when he should be going forward. He avoided pit lane, but we do have a car on pit lane. That was, looks like the 05. The 05 is headed to pit lane, maybe for another one of our stops here. That is Nathan Graham, so one of our faster drivers on pit lane. Going to be curious whether he puts on dry tires. I'm going to go back and take a look at Jeremy Gardner really quick. Jeremy Gardner had that off track there, and then he went to pit lane. I'm curious of what his tire situation is. Looks like he might still be on wets, and he is, yep. So Jeremy Gardner elected to stay on the wets, so this track not drying out as fast as everybody might have hoped. Looking at Jason Black currently off track again, it looks like. Is it going down? I want to say that was a roller coaster. I'm going to take another look at this. So Jason Black headed up towards roller coaster here, and this is tricky, especially in the Lambo. One of my favorite cars in the rain, but you got to be really careful in this section of the track. And he's got it woed up pretty good here, so as he comes downhill, headed towards Hogpen, you can see the car just gets away from him right there as we ride along board as he goes through the grass here. So back on track. And he goes around again. So, yeah, maybe running that Lambo a little hard, and those wet tires are a little warm and hard to get planted. Our leader still up there, hasn't pitted yet. I'm looking at Derek Tierham's. Got quite a lead right now. It looks like he's got a 27-second lead over Samuel Egg, but I think we had a couple cars come in and pit, so that might explain some of that distance that he's in as we're along with Brian Provo and Travis Stevens. As there is a battle here going on, going down the backstretch here. It looks like, and it looks like Travis Stevens. Yeah, they're going into the roller coaster right now. This is not a really good passing zone, and they get it single file here. Travis Stevens with Irachi just in front of him in the 05 or in the 62, and Brian Provo in the Mustang just behind him. Brian Provo had that little incident that sent him back a few spots, so currently running in 7th. So looking at some fast guys up here struggling a little bit on this wet track. We'll see if Brian Provo's got a run as they come down the front stretch here, looking towards the outside a little bit there. It looks like he's going to stay tucked in. It's also hard to see. Might try to run on the outside, but doesn't have the perverted line, so this is going to be a pretty hard move to make. And he will tuck it back in line as they go through 1 and 2 here. So Provo can't quite make the move on Stevens, but still putting pressure on here as they go through NASCAR Bend here. Oh, Provo almost gets into the back of Stevens, and that allows Graham to catch right up to both of them. So Graham back there in that second Mustang, you can see just behind him in what looks like a black and white Mustang and the golden black Mustangs, 2 Mustangs trying to chase it. Oh, and then Travis Stevens gets loose. That allows Brian Provo and Graham to get by him. So give both those guys a pass as they head through the S's. So one little mistake in this wet weather and it costs you big time. So still this track is looking wet, still declared lightly wet. I haven't seen any new raindrops or anything like that, so I'm kind of surprised. Of course, it is dark. So as we're looking at another battle here, Brandon Wallace, I'm just looking at something here. Brandon Wallace and Joshua Unger. It looks like, yeah, Joshua Unger just ahead of him there. You can see Brandon Wallace gets the inside lane as they go through NASCAR and give that position to Brandon Wallace. And so Brandon Wallace has got a lap car ahead of him, and then he's a few seconds behind the next car that he's going to be looking for position on. We're going to go back up with our leader, see how he's doing. So we're back on our leader in the 31, Derek Turhams. I know it's hard to see. He's in that brand new Austin Martin. So, you know, that's a new car that was released this week by iRacing. I had a chance to drive it earlier today, and it's actually a really fun car. And, of course, it's up here leading tonight as he's about to approach some lap traffic. Just taking a look here, see who's just ahead of him here. He's got Alexander Sexhauer, who's surprisingly about to go a lap down just ahead of him. So already some good drivers starting to fall a lap down. You can see he's putting pressure as they go through Oak Tree here. Going down the backstretch, we'll see if Sexhauer lets him by, and it looks like he will. Sexhauer just does the right thing and lets him by there on the straight. Currently running in second is Samuel Egg back there, having a great night. He is about 28 seconds behind our leader, but it's still a really good night for Samuel Egg. And who knows when the dry conditions start, might be able to run these guys down. One thing I'm noticing right now as I'm watching them go through Oak Tree is there's no spray coming off that car. So at least it looks like until they get to the middle part of the backstretch here is where the spray starts. So it looks like about half the track is starting to dry out there. You can see the spray start. So oh, and he gets a little loose there, but able to hang on to it. Our third place position. Wow, Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith back there in third. Just rounded Oak Tree back there on the backstretch. Having a great run. You can see the spray pick up. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. About half the track has started to dry out. So Eddie Smith having a great night. Currently running in third. We'll see if he can capitalize later on as the run progresses. Since we went through our top three, why don't we talk about one of our sponsors, Save 22. Save 22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, educate. Save 22. Yeah, so, you know, if you're not familiar with Goat Locker Racing, everyone here at Goat Locker, this is a nonprofit league organization, 501c3, dedicated to the help of helping veterans and do a lot of work to support our veterans. Do with sim rig giveaway, just having a place for our veterans to come here, unwind, and kind of have another spot to go in community support. So Goat Locker Racing is where it's at. So I'm very proud to be tied to this organization, a broadcaster and a racer here. It's just absolutely great what Goat Locker here does. Currently, we're riding along or looking at Michael Irachi. Good Italian name, my producer tells me. So we're watching him get this car around. He's also in the Austin Martin. So another one of those drivers having a good night, running in the top 5. So, you know, having a solid night so far as we look back to 11th position, Christopher Gauche. So something going on with Gauche. Gauche under pressure right now with Jamie Lipke, I believe that is. Just going back here, yeah, Jamie Lipke. It looks like he made a pass on Jamie Lipke. Lipke's trying to get that. No, Christopher Gauche. Yeah, Christopher Gauche is trying to make that pass. Sorry, it's so dark out. I can't tell who I'm looking at. So you can see Gauche working on Lipke and seeing if he can do it down the backstretch. They're going to be entering a very tricky part of the section here. So as they make this right-hander and then this blind left-hander, this is a great passing opportunity if he can get the speed. So if he can get the inside here, coming up close as they come up to Oak Tree here, looks like he's got the run down on the inside. We'll see as they exit, and he does. It looks like Lipke lets him go. So Lipke doing the being a smart driver out there and lets Gauche by. And that's one of those key passing areas. One of the spots I definitely enjoy passing. That's probably one of my favorite passing zones on the track as we're watching Nathan Graham currently running in the 3rd position. Nathan Graham, one of our top road racing drivers here in Goat Locker, has found himself up to 3rd. So some of these guys have hit pit lane, but it looks like he got around. I want to say that's Eddie Smith. Yeah, Eddie Smith in the Porsche. He's having a really solid night, but we'll have to send Eddie Smith down to that 4th position with Nathan Graham working his way up front. So he is slowly making his way up front, but he is 42 seconds behind our leader. So he's got a lot of ground to make up tonight as he heads up through the S's. And you can see the track is still quite wet here. Let me take another look at that, see how we're doing. Yeah, track conditions haven't changed that much, so I imagine that's why we haven't seen anybody brave enough to take any dries yet, and we might not see that, being that this track is not drying out as fast as I thought it would. These guys might stay on wets because I'm looking at the weather forecast here just to give our folks an update out there in TV land. Let's just take a look at the weather. Yeah, we do have some rain showers inbound, and it looks like they'll be here in about 30 minutes, and we've got about 30 minutes left in this race, so we could be looking at some rain by the end of this race. So, you know, these drivers are going to have to think of their next pit stop, which will be coming up here shortly, as we're about 10 minutes away from the halfway point. The one thing about running in the rain all this time is it allows these guys to save gas. So had this been a dry race all the way, they probably would have been only able to make it to halfway, but I imagine they'll be able to make it to the 45 minute mark, and that'll kind of tell them whether they need to take wets for that last pit stop with rain inbound, which it's hard to say, you know, with iRacing and spotty rain, whether it's going to rain again. But boy, it's going to be a nail biter as we're looking at Jeremy Gardner up to 8th after doing that pit stop. Currently up to 8th. He's still on wet tires, had that spin, but is managing to salvage his way back up. Jeremy Gardner was actually one of my favorites for tonight, so I was hoping he was going to be a further up front, and I imagine he was hoping too. He's currently running 2nd in points, and the guy he's chasing right now isn't having the greatest night either, so it looks like it still could be a good points night for Jeremy Gardner. As he finds himself currently under pressure, it looks like Logan Threlkeld, who were just on in that 30 car. Yeah, Logan Threlkeld running that Porsche, having a really solid night. He's another driver that had a problem. Not sure what happened. He was leading, ended up giving up the lead, started in first. You can see it down there on your screen, but had some kind of issue. I'm not sure if he went to pit lane or not, but if he did, that might have been his final stop as long as they stay on wets here. But Jeremy Gardner, I think, we're looking at another car off track there. That is the Mustang and Nathan Graham. He's one of our top runners. Close call there. So we're going to take another look at this, see exactly what happened. As it looks like we're going through the snake section of the track. Yeah, and it just gets away from him there. So these wet tires might be starting to give up. I hadn't seen anybody lose it there. And Nathan Graham, I know what kind of driver he is. Oh, and right there, you can see how close that was. So tough break for Nathan Graham. So that's going to move him back about 3 or 4 positions. Yeah, so Nathan Graham started in 5th, currently in 5th. I believe Nathan Graham is, that moved him back to about 7th. As we're watching another battle here on track, Travis Stevens again. We're watching for that 8th place battle. Travis Stevens and Jeremy Gardner again Jeremy Gardner has caught these guys is what's happened. See Jeremy Gardner putting all kinds of pressure there alongside Travis Stevens, the 2 Corvettes headed into the roller coaster. This is not a great passing area. Somebody's going to have to give, and it looks like Travis Stevens going to give it to Jeremy Gardner. It's basically the only thing he can do here. Give that position Jeremy Gardner as he moves himself up another spot. Oh, I thought Travis Stevens got a little loose there. So, yeah, so able to hang on to that there. Travis Stevens, oh, excuse me, Jeremy Gardner's putting the pressure on Travis Stevens. My mistake. Again, I'm getting these cars mixed up in the dark here. You can see Jeremy Gardner down on the inside, preferred line. That's Jeremy Gardner. Sorry about that, folks. But now these 2 cars headed side by side into a regular passing zone. And it looks like Jeremy Gardner's got the advantage. Travis Stevens is going to have to give it to him, and he does. So you know what happens. I called the position a little early. But Travis Stevens now under threat, though. He's got Logan Threlkeld, who we just mentioned. Logan Threlkeld just behind him. He wants that position as they go through NASCAR Bend and headed towards the snake section of the track here. Travis Stevens is not done defending his position. As we look at Logan Threlkeld back there in that yellow and red Porsche, which is hard to tell here in the dark, they're headed to the snake section of the track here, headed uphill, and we're also about to the halfway point of this race. So this is where Nathan Graham basically lost it here in the S session, but it looks like not Logan Threlkeld right now. He's able to get that position done as they head into the snake section and up the hill here with this tricky blind left-hander here as you see it go around. So Travis Stevens giving up spots here about halfway through this run. Well, since that pass was made, why don't we talk about our title sponsor? That would be MK Fire Design. MK Fire Design is a design company that specializes in custom wooden flags, shirts, hoodies, and hats. The company supports first responders and veterans and is owned by a first responder. Hey, one thing about MK Fire Design, they came on board with us. We were able to bring this GT3 series in part by them. So make sure you guys go to their website, check them out. Matter of fact, there's some videos that have been posted in Discord where it shows, I think, Patrick Dravick and Eddie Smith were showing some of the custom wooden flags that they've gotten from this company, and they're just absolutely phenomenal. So make sure you go check these guys out and thank them for being on board with us and bringing this GT3 series to life here on Saturday nights. It's been totally awesome. Anyway, we're riding along with Nathan Graham. He's back up to 4th. Tad had some struggles up here. We can watch that Mustang get around this track. He's got Eddie Smith just ahead of him there in that 3rd position. So something has happened where Nathan Graham, well, we've seen it, that S. Nathan Graham starting to make his way back up to 3rd, looking at Eddie Smith in that Porsche. And I imagine as they get to Oak Tree or close to Oak Tree as well. Oh, Eddie Smith, something. I don't know. Eddie Smith was really slow there, maybe trying to let him by before that turn. We'll have to go. Okay, I see. Yeah. So Eddie Smith just really gentlemanly just got on the brakes and just gave it to him before they even got into that complex of corners there. So Eddie Smith just wants to, looks like he's going for a very solid night tonight and not really doesn't want to deal with any racing issues, especially out on this wet track. So Nathan Graham back up to 3rd. So this is like his 3rd time of being in 3rd. So I guess it's a position he's going to be familiar with. Just looking at I'm looking at the track conditions right now. So based on if I was out on the track, it would be a good time to take drives. I hope nobody's out there watching the broadcast while they're racing, but it's about the time where I take drives. The track's been declared very lightly wet. So, you know, the one thing about the difference in speed between wets and dries is about 15 seconds per lap, which is about 7 laps overall. As we look at our 14th position, Samuel Joseph back there in that Porsche, putting some pressure on Brandon Wallace, it looks like, in the 99. Brandon Wallace just ahead of him. Yeah, you can see him just there in the 99. Looks like the 99 is looking at Joshua Unger in the 51 just ahead of him. So we're looking at that gap, and it looks like it's a nice 3-car battle going on as we got a car off the track just ahead of him. It looks like a Lamborghini. I've seen that Lamborghini off the track before. Let's see who that is. There we go. Riding along as he's getting that thing going again. another victim of the wet weather here. That's Jason Black in the 68. And just gets off track here. Car did not want to stop for him. Now he's under pressure here by other drivers for going off track here. And we're back with this Brandon Wallace now. Looks like just took a position away. I want to say that was Samuel Yosef that he took that position away. So looks like Brandon Wallace doing a great job moving that Acura closer to the front. As we got another 3-car battle, it looks like Eddie Smith back under pressure. Brian Provo currently running in 4th. Would like that 3rd place from Eddie Smith. What the heck happened to Nathan Graham? Oh, he's up to 2nd. So there you go. So it looks like we might have some pit stops underway as the field starts to change positions here. So looking at Brian Provo, didn't quite get that pass made as they head up to the roller coaster. This is a tough spot to try to make a pass. I think he'll have to wait to go through this next complex as they head down to Hogpen. Now you can see Eddie Smith dealing with the lap car there. Eddie Smith looks like that was Jason Black in that lap car there. Gets by that lap car as they head down to Hogpen and do the front stretch here, as we are officially just about a few seconds away from halfway in this race. Eddie Smith onto pit lane, and Eddie Smith, one of the drivers, making it to halfway. We'll see if any of these drivers decide to take dries. I don't know. It's risky business with rain on the way again. We're riding with the 4th place driver of Derek Tiram. Somehow he's lost the lead back here in 4th. He was our leader. It might be due to pit stops. If he did pit, it looks like he's still on wet tires, so there's that. I imagine, I didn't see any incidents from him, so I imagine he's taken his last pit stop unless he decides to take on dries later on. And he's currently working on another car. That's Brian Provo, one of our faster drivers out there. So Brian Provo, who hasn't made a pit stop, currently has made his way back up to 3rd. So Brian Provo under threat for that position from a driver that may have made his pit stop. Brian Provo is yet to pit as they go through the S's here in the blind left-hander. And one of the trickier sections of the pass. This is where I like to pass cars here at VIR, but Tiram gets a little loose back there. Couldn't get that gap closed up as they go by Oak Tree here, which no longer is there. Oh, and then you can see Provo gets a little loose in that Mustang. That allows Derek Tirams to get up there alongside. He's going to get this pass complete before they get to roller coaster. Just going to take a look at, see what's going on in YouTube chat. So it looks like Brian Frauheiger is saying at least he passed one tonight. So not a lot of chat going on, but we're keeping it real here by myself while we watch Joshua Unger in the 51 Corvette. Back, looks like he's looking at Samuel Yosef just ahead of him in that 36 Porsche. Maybe trying to put some pressure back on him, see if he can get back by. Oh, and he gets a little loose there. Still a little spray coming off the cars as they enter the front stretch here, but the track is drying out. And I can tell you right now, going back to that pit stop, that Eddie Smith, I got breaking news for Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith is out there on dry tires. So one of the strategies I was interested in who was going to take dry tires first, and it looks like that's Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith currently running in the 6th position. Felt like the track was dry enough. The question is he going to be able to avoid the rain towards the end of this race? So, you know, with iRacing, the drivers can't see the radar like we can. So they're driving kind of blind. They have to go by what their spotter's telling them what they think is the rain is going to do. But here in the booth, I can tell you that the rain is, looks like it's about 20 minutes out, 20 to 25 minutes out. So it's risky business for Eddie. As Brandon Wallace in chat there says, Eddie is the boss. So somebody's paying attention in chat what's going on out there, and I have to agree. So we'll see what Eddie can do here. And as I was mentioning, on dry tires on a dry track compared to wets, the cars are about 15 seconds faster now. The track is moderately wet or lightly wet, so Eddie isn't going to be able to get those super fast lap times, but he should be a little bit faster than the guys on wet tires. By how much? That remains to be seen. As we're watching Samuel Egg, currently our leader through the cycle of pit stops here, leading with that Porsche. got Derek Terms coming in behind him, so we'll see if he can hold on to it. But Samuel Egg currently leading this thing as they go down through roller coaster and headed towards Hogpen. We'll see if Samuel Egg makes his way to pit lane on this lap. As coming up to the front stretch here, and it looks like, yeah, he's on pit lane. So another driver headed to pit lane as we are past the halfway point. 35 minutes into this race, approximately, we're starting to see a lot of our pit stops happen. Derek Terms right now is Terms is our new leader, inherited that lead, and I believe he's made his final pit stop. So that puts him back in first, where he's pretty much ran all night, with the exception of the start where we had Threlkeld on the pole and led a few laps before Terms got up there. But Terms currently, they go through NASCAR and into this complex of turns headed towards Snake here. You can see Terms has got some lap traffic just ahead of him. That is Jamie Lipke. The 9th position is about to go a lap down. We were watching Jamie Lipke earlier battling, but Jamie Lipke is about to be lapped here 25 minutes in, or 35 minutes into this race. Lap traffic is always one of those things when you're leading, you're like, and Derek Terms, I believe this is his first race in Goat Locker. He's new to the series, new to the league, putting on quite a show tonight. And but he's got to get to know these drivers now. Jamie Lipke is a pretty good driver, so I imagine Jamie will probably let him by here on the back stretch as they go through Oak Tree here, and you can see him try to look for the spot, and there you go. You can see him get the inside there as they head down the back straight, so Lipke will let him go. So Brian Provo just behind him back there, only 3 seconds back. But Brian Provo, I believe, hasn't made his pit stop yet, so that remains to be seen yet, whether how this is going to shake out. It started in 7th position, currently running in 2nd, one of our Goat Locker Racing's premier road course racers. So speaking of Goat Locker Racing, we race here 7 nights a week. If you haven't seen it before, come check out Goat Locker Racing. Like it's 7 nights a week. Monday night, let's see what we have. We have ARCA on Monday nights. We run actually 2. Oh, there we go. Brian Provo on pit lane. So we run ARCA series on Monday nights. We run Indy cars on Tuesday nights. So that's a lot of fun. I ran there last Tuesday at one of the road courses. It was Long Beach in the rain, just like tonight, as we were looking at Nathan Graham currently running in 5th. Kind of had an up and down night for Nathan Graham, but back into the top 5 for Nathan. Nathan is currently looking at Samuel Egg just ahead of him there. Samuel Egg also having a great night. So he's up there in that purple Porsche just ahead of him. There's just a tiny bit of spray coming off those cars now. So this track is drying out as we're looking at Samuel Egg there. I'm curious if we have any other people that have taken dry tires. No, so far I only see Eddie Smith, who's still currently running in 6th. So as we're looking at Nathan Graham come around the corner here down the front stretch, we have another car headed pit lane. Looks like we had an incident. Nathan Graham gets loose again. Wow, as soon as I mention it, kind of having an up, down, and night. I don't know. Maybe I should let my producer know. I'm jinxing these guys tonight. So Nathan having a little bit of up and down at night, but he didn't lose any positions because he has such an advantage currently running in 5th, as we're looking at Jeremy Gardner now in 2nd place. So kind of an up and down night for everybody. Jeremy Gardner, I think, is another one of those cars that might have to pit again. He pitted early for an early spin, so I don't know if he's good for the rest of the race. That's going to be interesting because he pitted like on lap 2 or 3. I think he can make it to the end. So Jeremy Gardner having a good night as we're looking at Alexander Sexauer in the 13th position, currently under pressure. Oh, that's Jeremy Gardner going by right now. So Jeremy Gardner, it looks like, is putting Sexauer a lap down. And let's see if I am right. No, that's Samuel. Yeah, Alexander Sexauer just went a lap down. So Samuel Josep is the next car that's due to go a lap down, or has been lapped, I should say. So it's Travis Stevens, our 7th place guy. Travis Stevens now in danger of going a lap down as our leader's approaching him, who's still Derek Terums, still leading this thing out front. Yeah, and as we look at our leader currently in that Austin Martin, one thing I have a section I like to call Car of the Week, and I haven't done it yet tonight, but why don't we talk about our leader's car, the Austin Martin? So I'm going to pull up that information really quick. I think these cars are all interesting. They all drive differently, and it makes it a lot of fun. It makes the GT3 series kind of special. These cars are 75%, most of them are about 75% of stock, what you can buy. Of course, you know, if you've got a lot of money, that's what these cars cost, but they're pretty much 75% of what the stock car is. So these cars are pretty cool. Anyway, carrying on a long time sports car tradition. I can't even, I've been talking so much I can barely talk. Carrying on a long line of sports car produced by the iconic British manufacturer, the Aston Martin Vantage GT3 first look to the track in 2019. Its Evo variant was unveiled in 2024, both as a new build and an upgrade kit for the original car. It features significantly revised aerodynamics, especially the nose area, and a suspension from its predecessor. Under the hood, it's powered with a twin-turbo 4-liter V8 that can produce up to 600 horsepower, depending on the regulations they're running in. Wins for previous Vantage entries at Le Mans, Daytona, Spa have proven a tall order to follow, but success has continued with the GT3 Evo model. Perhaps its biggest early triumph came in 2024, the 24 hours of Spa, where it won overall by Come to You Racing with more than 30 seconds in 2025. It added a Gold Cup division win at the Verstappen.com Racing, whose lineup introduced the former iRacing Nuremberg 24-hour winner Chris Lulham. So there you have it. Car of the week, the Aston Martin. New this week, there's a few guys running this thing. And, you know, just like in iRacing form, we have a top runner right now. As we're getting back to the racing action here at VIR, watching the Sparks. We're back with Eddie Smith. I'm not sure if Eddie Smith had an incident. He's currently running in 7th, so he's dropped a position somewhere. Oh, it looks like he's got a black flag. So I'm looking at Eddie Smith, and I'm not sure if he served it, but he might have too many incident points, maybe due to off tracks, but somehow got a black flag. Might have to come in next time and serve it, or he's already served it. I have a feeling that he served it, and that's why he's as far back as he is. So tough break for Eddie, but still having a decent night. As he goes around Oak Tree and down the backstretch here in that green Porsche. As we're riding with the 13th place car of Kevin Price, who's currently a lap down. Kevin Price, we haven't talked about him too much. Kind of had a decent run. He's running currently about center of the field. We had, I think, 31 cars start this race. So, you know, finishing mid-pack, considering the quality of drivers we have out here tonight, he's having a great run. So as we're riding here, I'm just looking at our leader here, seeing what kind of gap he has. Back up to Derek Tierham's here. Derek Tierham's, it looks like he's got Travis Stevens ahead of him, so he's out there in the Austin. So Derek Tierham's our leader. Jeremy Gardner back there, looks like he's 37 seconds behind our race leader of Derek Tierham. So Jeremy Gardner having a great night, holding on to that second, but Jeremy Gardner, so he's been running in the top 2 or 3 every race this season. This is only 3rd race of the season, but been a top contender every week, showing that he's got the skill to be out here on these road courses, and I'm sure he's going to be begging for a win here as he's going by the start-finish line here. Still a little bit of spray on that front stretch, but this track is drying out. In 3rd place, we got Samuel Egg in the 243, so Samuel Egg also having a solid night. He's just about 10 seconds behind Jeremy Gardner. So he's led 3 laps so far this race. As I said, having a solid night. Going through 1 and 2 right now. There's a little bit of spray, but you can see only the front stretch is basically the only wet part of this track at the moment. We got a couple guys out there on dry tires right now. Eddie Smith is still out there on dry tires. He served his black flag. Eddie Smith has dropped back to 7th, as I'd mentioned earlier, but we got another guy, looks like Christopher Gauche, is the only other car out there currently running in 10th, a lap down. Christopher Gauche out there on dry tires. So a couple of guys out there braving it right now. Having a solid night being out there in the top 10. Gauche is another one of those new drivers that's new to the league. I don't know if this is his first race. I think I seen him out there in the oval side. Oh, as we as we're talking about him, of course, that seems to be the order of the night. We see him go off track there on that blind left-hander that I was talking about. It's very easy to do. Gets that car wound up. Another car off track, Samuel Egg. Samuel Egg was running in second place, so that's going to drop him back to fourth as he's trying to get that Porsche back. All kinds of fishtailing, trying to get that thing back up to speed, get the grass cleaned off those rear tires. Yeah, tough break for Samuel Egg. That's going to drop him back. Nathan Graham now up to third. So Nathan Graham making his presence known. Not that he wasn't doing that before, but moving up this field, now looking at a podium if he can hold on to it. But Nathan Graham has had some tough luck as he goes into roller coaster here. This is another hard part here is these guys are decided. They're out here on wet tires now on almost a dry track, but the reason they're not coming in and changing these tires is I think they all know rain is on the way again, and I'm going to take another quick look at that. Yeah, rain is only just a little ways out. I want to say it's about a mile out, and we're still 15 minutes into this race, so I think, folks, we are going to see rain again. So these guys that are out there on the rain tires might be the smart ones, and the guys out there, Eddie Smith and Christopher Gauche, might be back on pit lane here shortly to put the wets back on, because I think it's going to get ugly again. The rain that's coming that I see on the radar is a lot more intense than what we've seen during practice and during qualifying. Just taking a break here to wet my whistle, cover the rest of the action here. As we got 15 minutes to go here, we're looking at Derek Terms continue to lead this thing. Pretty much led 90% of this race. Logan Threlkeld gave it up early as we're watching him cut down through these corners here. I'm trying to figure out where he's at in the dark here. I want to say, yeah, NASCAR Bend there. Headed towards the snake part of the track. Watching that beautiful Austin, at least the tail lights of it and the headlights. That's about all I can make out of that car. But next week, I think we'll be back in the daylight and we'll be able to get a better look at these cars. But as I was saying earlier, when I did the Car of the Week segment and talked about the Austin, one thing unique about running in GT3s is we're looking at Jamie Lepke right now in 6th, having a solid night. He did go a lap down earlier, so I just want to check this out really quick since we're on him. Just seeing. Yeah, so she went a lap down, I thought, but she's running in 6th place, so having a solid night. Jamie's doing a great job out there. Anyway, as I was saying with the Car of the Week segment, all these cars handle different. We got rear engine cars like the Porsche. We got mid-engine cars, the Corvette, the Ferrari. I'm just trying to think of all of them off the top of my head. The McLaren. All these kind of cars drive different than the front engine cars, and they all have unique characteristics, but they all fall under a balance of power category, what they call a BOP. So what the sanctioning body does and what iRacing does is they make certain changes to these cars, whether it's through the engine and horsepower management or through aero. They make changes to the car to try to make them equal. But what they can't do is make them equal, say, per corner or per track. So depending on what track we're at and things like that, these guys have a different experience. Now, within this series, these guys are allowed to change cars every race. We used to lock these drivers into a specific car all season, but they're dealing with varied conditions this season, so our league administrator has allowed them to change cars when necessary. So we might see some of these drivers in different cars, although from what I've seen, most drivers like to stay in the same car because, like I said, with all the different driving characteristics that these cars have, the problem you run into is if you're always changing cars, you never get really good at any one car. As we're looking at Brian Provo currently running in 4th, still having that solid night. Trying to get a podium there. Brian Provo looks like he is a ways back from Nathan Graham. It looks like he's got a ways to go to get up to Nathan Graham. He's currently running in 3rd, and he just went off track there. So it seems like every time we go to Nathan or Brian, he has some struggles there. So Brian Provo, I think he was able to hold on to his position, but he's definitely probably damaged that Mustang as we're now with Nathan Graham, who's currently running in 3rd. So Nathan Graham, we didn't talk about him when I was trying to go through the top 3, but he is just behind, about looks like 8 seconds behind Jeremy Gardner or so. So still got some time to try to run down at least one more position, but unless Derek Terhams, our leader, has an incident, I don't think anybody's going to be running him down tonight. He's currently got a 38-second lead over Jeremy Gardner, who's running in second. So Derek Terhams is kind of stinking up the field tonight. Still a little bit of spray coming off the front of those tires, but that track is a lot more drier than it was. I'm just going to take another look at the weather here. Give you guys an update. Yeah, we're just a couple minutes away. These guys are going to be dealing with rain again. So 11 minutes to go, and 5 minutes I expect to see rain. Well, while we're waiting for the rain, I want to talk about one of our other sponsors who help us help Goat Locker and make these series possible. I want to talk about Glove Station. At Glove Station, they are committed to providing quality gloves and protective gear for a wide range of your daily activities and jobs. From tinkering on home do-it-yourself projects to working in industrial environments and everything in between, they've got you covered. With endless amounts of safety products on the market, they want to make it effortless for you to find the right protection for your needs. Glove Station. Right here on VSPEED, we are finishing up with the last 10 minutes of VIR with a pretty exciting race. Hopefully I don't lose my voice tonight. I'm surprised I'm out here. I've been able to talk for an hour. I'm normally an introvert, so I don't talk that much. So to keep me rolling for as long as I have is kind of pretty amazing. So nothing new in chat. So Eddie's still the boss, according to the last person that mentioned anything in chat. So we got a few people out there watching. You know, don't forget to like and subscribe to VSPEED here. Helps get Goat Locker out there and the great work they do for our veterans and things like that. It looks like we're looking at, I want to say, yeah, Samuel Yosef in the 36. So currently running in 7th position. So Samuel having a great night. Samuel looks like trying to run down Eddie Smith. That's the next person that he's looking at for position. Both those guys a lap down. Eddie Smith now a lap down. Jamie Lepke a lap down. So there's only, looks like 4 cars on the lead lap. So a tough night for a lot of people. So we're looking at Eddie Smith right now in that 6th position, a lap down. Jamie Lepke is the next position just ahead of him, who just got lapped as we showed you here on VSPEED at Oak Tree with our leader going by him. So this rain has had an effect on everybody tonight. And we're watching. This track has pretty much stayed wet all night as we're watching. Oh no, Eddie Smith looks like loses the rear end of that thing again. And he is out there on those dry tires too, it looks like. No, Eddie Smith went back to the wet tires. So when he did make his black flag pit stop, it looks like he went back to wet tires knowing that rain is inbound. Riding along here, watching Brian Provo here go through the corners here. Yeah, headed toward the snake section here in that Mustang. It seems like every time we go to Brian Provo, I'm almost scared that the cameras got moved to him. Brian Provo holding on to track, man. Keep it on the track. Nathan Graham is your next competitor just ahead of you there. It looks like he's got a little bit of distance to make up on Nathan. So looks like he is quite a ways back as you see that Mustang get a little sideways of Nathan Graham going down the backstretch here. So that's the difference. So looking at Nathan Graham here is making time up on Garner, which we talked about earlier. So he's got it narrowed down to about 9 seconds. We'll see if he can make up any more time on him. Yeah, so that time is winding down, but Jeremy Garner, he is known at this track as being very proficient. I raced Jeremy here back in the spring, and he led about half that race. But hey, Jeremy, just want to remind you who beat you as we watch him go down the front stretch. So they call him Big Daddy here at Goat Locker. I'm just giving Jeremy a hard time, but you know, every time we're at VIR, I'm going to remind him who beat him. So you know, if I ever get back on track with him, he's going to have it out for me. So it looks like just behind them, we are looking at Nathan Graham still continuing to reel Jeremy Gardner in. Now about 6 seconds here with about 8 minutes to go. we'll see if Nathan can do it. Nathan is a really fast driver, but I wouldn't put nothing past Jeremy if he can hold on to it. The difference here is Jeremy Gardner, if you remember, came into pit lane very early, and the rain has started again, folks. So I see raindrops on the camera, so the rain has started. So I don't see anybody back there on dry tires, so that's a good thing. But yeah, these guys are going to be dealing with the rain for the last 8 minutes of this race. But as I was saying, Jeremy Gardner, no stranger to VIR, but Nathan Grimm, a very good road racer on his own right. But we're watching Jeremy Gardner here head towards that blind left-hander here, going down the hill, seeing if he can get any time on Nathan Graham. The problem here, as I was getting ready to say, is Jeremy Gardner went into pit lane very early in this race due to an incident, about lap 2. And now you can see that gap there down on your screen. But as I was saying, came in about lap 2. Nathan Graham came in about halfway. So Nathan Graham's got a little bit fresher tires if they change tires, which is an unknown situation too. But Jeremy Gardner slowly losing time to Nathan Graham. So I imagine we're going to see Jeremy Gardner on defense if he doesn't pick it up here shortly. And you can see that distance has really closed in. Nathan Graham is really closed in right on the back. There you go. It looks like Nathan Graham is going to get that position. They go through these corners here, headed down. Yeah, it looks like give that to Nathan Graham. So move Jeremy back to that 3rd place position, as Nathan Graham will inherit 2nd place as they go by the front stretch here. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe those tires are just completely worn out for Gardner, and Nathan Graham on a little bit fresher tire. I don't know, but that appears to be the case as we're back with our leader, Derek Terms. With about 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes to go, Derek Terms with a heck of a lead. He's got a 51-second lead on our 2nd place guy, Nathan Graham, who's had some struggles. We watched Nathan Graham at least get off track once. I don't think I've seen Derek make a single mistake all night after he got the lead from Logan Threlkeld. So Derek Terms, that explains why he's got that lead. And you can see the raindrops through the headlights as we look at his car, that Austin, go down this beautiful raceway. Lots of rain at the moment, so we're going to see this rain is starting to look like it's going to get pretty heavy and maybe actually even start puddling on the track. So they went from a very light misty track to probably a more heavy rain, and yeah, you can see a little bit of puddling there on the side of the track. So by the time we get to the end of this thing, they're going to be hanging on for dear life as we're riding along with our leader down the front stretch. Got the lap car of Kevin Price, who's a couple laps down now, currently running in 11th, just ahead of him going into turn 1 here. And this is normally a pretty good passing zone, a heavy braking zone as they go through the front stretch. This is 1 and 2. This is approaching this lap car as they head towards NASCAR Bend. Now this is a really tricky left-hander. It's very easy for the car to get squirrely here. As you can see, he's right up on the back of that lap car, Kevin Price. You can see that's the 80 of Kevin Price. Expecting Kevin Price to kind of maybe throw him a bone here, but you know what? When you got a 50-second lead, you kind of just got to be patient and maybe try to get around him. But this is kind of one of the worst places I hate to pass cars is through this section, and it looks like that's where Kevin Price is going to let him by, and he lets our leader by. So leader got woed up a little bit. Doesn't look like he lost too much time to our 2nd place guy, Nathan Graham, who's still trying to hold on to that 2nd place. He's got Jeremy Gardner just a couple seconds behind him, who gave up that position as we got a car on pit lane. That's Jeremy Gardner. So folks, like I was saying, he came in a couple laps. Maybe he doesn't have the fuel, and it looks like Jeremy Gardner is going to have to top that thing off and get back out there. So he's going to be lucky to hold on to a top 5. We'll see how that shakes out. Brian Provo, we're now with 4th place Brian Provo in that Mustang. Oh, and Brian Provo off track again as soon as we go to him. Oh, and he's got the Porsche right behind him. I believe that's Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith getting hard on the brakes. Eddie Smith a lap down. I believe that was, oh no, that was Samuel Yosef. Samuel Yosef just behind him in 6th place. I'm not sure if that was because he was braking because of Provo, but we're going to take another look here. Samuel Yosef here, yeah, just gets loose probably in the same place that Brian Provo did. And this heavy rain is coming down right now, folks, and that's probably what we're seeing. They're on old, wet tires, and they're used to going a little bit faster and trying to push it a little bit harder as Sammy Yosef tries to, it looks like he has another off track and trying to get that Porsche going again. So back up here with Brian Provo, currently running in fourth, who we just seen had the off track. As we just got a couple minutes here to go. Brian Provo currently running in fourth. Jeremy Gardner made that pit stop. It looks like Jeremy Gardner is going to hang on to that third position. Just taking a look. Yeah, it looks like he's still in third. So that pit stop didn't really cost him position, only time. So he's quite a ways, 40 seconds behind Nathan Graham now, but he's probably got some fresh wets on that car and can close this thing out with a podium finish. Back up to second, Nathan Graham, as they go by the front stretch. Next time by, I expect the white flag of our leader, Derek Tierhams, who's currently just been killing it tonight. Still got a 54-second lead as we're watching our leader, or our second place guy, Nathan Graham, come down through the corners here, 1 and 2. Trying to keep a solid run going here. Nathan Graham has got a lap car just ahead of him, I believe. And that is Joshua Unger in 8th place, just ahead of Nathan Graham. Joshua Unger here, we haven't talked about him tonight in that U.S. Army car, that Corvette. About to go another lap down to Nathan Graham, or already went a lap down, about to be passed by Nathan Graham. Going back up here to our leader as we're getting to the final couple of minutes here. So going through the roller coaster, our leader, this is going to be the white flag lap. He's got one car ahead of him, about 3 seconds just ahead of him. Another lap car, 6th place of Samuel Yosef. Doesn't really have a battle going on, so I imagine he's just going to try to keep it clean and keep that Austin out on the track without having the off tracks that everybody else has. And there you go. There's the white flag is out for Derek Tierham. So he's only got about 17 more corners to get this thing done. As he goes into 1 and 2, looking at the back of Samuel Yosef, who's about to go another lap down. Currently, Samuel is 1 lap down. This will make 2 laps down for Samuel. As they go through NASCAR Bend here, coming up on that lap down car, headed up toward the snake pit, as I like to call it, especially in this rain. It gets pretty sloshy through here, and we've seen a lot of spins right here, and it looks like he's going to get through that very cleanly. No real other battles going on the track. We're just watching our leader slice through the lap traffic here, going through the snake pit, and you can see how wet it is just on the edges of the track. So he's got to be very careful with the throttle here, as it's really puddling up here late in this race on the last lap. And you can see him going through the blind left-hander headed towards, or this next corner is the blind left-hander as he's going down into Oak Tree. There he goes. Oh, he is sideways, so you can just see how much of a tough time he's having in these really wet conditions. It is coming down. It is pouring hard right now. So on the last couple of corners, we're watching our leader, who's led the majority of this race, just really struggle with that Austin as he's going down the backstretch. He's got to hope that it hasn't puddled up too much, especially as he gets into the roller coaster here. It could cost him the race, especially if he hits a wall or a tire barrier here. So, it's just a matter of keeping it clean. We've seen him take the lead about 2 or 3 laps into this thing, headed to roller coaster here. Only about 4 more corners to go. He makes the left-hander, then the right-hander, gets it down to second. And then he's going to probably keep it into second into rain and just stay off the throttle back into this right-hander. Headed back to the front stretch. As long as he doesn't get the rear end of this Austin loose, I think Derek Tierham's first race, a Goat Locker, coming around the final corner and onto the front stretch, will win the 3rd race of the season here at VIR. You can see him flashing the lights of that Austin. Congratulations there to Derek Tierham, our winner. So let's see what's going on back with Nathan Graham, who's almost a full minute back there in second place. See how Nathan's doing as he's going down the backstretch here. Our second place guy. This is how much of a lead Derek Tierham's had. So second place, we're watching our second place driver here go down the back into roller coaster. You remember that Derek got really squirrely through here. We'll see if Nathan can hold on to it. Keeping that Mustang clean here, going through second gear. Being very easy on the throttle here. It is very wet. The final couple of corners going through Hog Pen and out to the front stretch. Second place finisher should go to Nathan Graham. Yeah, he's going to get this final corner right here. This right-hander and onto the front stretch. Give second place to Nathan Graham. Jeremy Gardner, another guy. So Jeremy Gardner back here just past Oak Tree. So almost a half a lap back from Jeremy Gardner. He's got, looks like the lap car of Rob Kubat, who he just got by, currently running 14th. But Jeremy Gardner back here trying to get the last podium position, the last car on the lead lap too, folks. Jeremy Gardner, solid night, had an off track early, was able to recover, made a second pit stop, kept his podium finish here, or kept his podium position. We're not sure how he's going to finish, but I think he's got this one in the bag in this Corvette. As he comes around the final couple of corners here into Hogpen, got a lap car in tow. I don't think he's going to feel any pressure from that. The last couple of right-handers here, and Jeremy Gardner. Yeah, Jeremy Gardner is going to finish this race in third, and that is our podium finishers. So, folks, we're going to take a commercial break, give my voice a rest. We're going to come back. We'll have the unofficial results and talk to our podium finishers, and we'll see you in just a couple moments.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you, day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
And we are back live here on VSPEED at VIR. Of course, it's dark here. You're looking at some older footage of a daylight track. But anyway, we're going to go through our unofficial results here at VIR with Derek Tierums actually wins this thing after starting in second, brings it home in first with a slip up from Logan Threlkeld. Nathan Graham will finish this thing in second. Heck of a run for him starting in fifth, with Jeremy Gardner wrapping out your top three after starting in eighth. So great job for those guys. Brian Provo, first car, a lap down, will finish in fourth. Jamie Lipke finishes in fifth. Great run for him. Samuel Yosef just behind him will finish in sixth. Eddie Smith, tough night. Started up in 11th, still finishes 7th, but 2 laps down for Eddie. Jason Black will finish in 8th. Christopher Ghosh will finish in 9th, with Kevin Price behind him finishing in 10th. Travis Stevens will finish in 11th, with Joshua Unger finishing in 12th. Samuel Egg, a tough night for him. Started in 10th, will finish in 13th. Not too bad. Rob Kubat finishes where he started in that 14th position. Alexander Sexauer started in 24th, brings it up 10 spots for a 15th place finish. Logan Threlkeld Our pole sitter ends up with a tough night in 16th, 16 laps down. I don't believe he finished the race. Michael Arachi will finish 17th. Brandis Wallace will finish 18th. Jake Ham finishes 19th. Brock Price will finish 20th. Tyler Merritt finishes in the 21st position with Warren Clayton finishing 22nd. Kyle St. John will finish 23rd with Jason Kristen finishing 24th. Joseph McWhorter started in 3rd, finishes 25th after a tough, rough start to this rain-soaked race. Brennan McDonald will finish in 26th with Noah Horgard just behind him, starting in 27th, and Bobby Germain will finish in 28th. Jed Carterman finishes 29th. These guys, I don't believe, started the race with Brian Frauheiger finishing 30th and Matthew Gleason finishing 31st. So that was our 31 car field. What a big night. A lot of cars out here tonight. We're seeing more and more. Usually as the season goes on, we see cars drop off, but we're seeing more and more. And speaking that, one of the reasons is we got a brand new driver here, Derek Tierhams. Do you have a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Hey, Derek, what a heck of a run tonight. You started in 2nd. Tell me about your race. I'm more interested. We didn't catch to see what happened to Logan Threlkeld, the leader, but he was leading this race, and we were probably watching another incident behind you guys. What happened?
Yeah, pretty unfortunate there. He lost it right there at the end of the roller coaster and that final turn. I anticipated him to slide just because it's wet and stuff, but he actually managed to stop the car right there on track, and I just didn't have the enough time to react properly and hit him uh, head first. I was still able to go, so unfortunate for him because I know that probably would have shaped up to be a good fight. So do apologize to him as well.
Yeah, well, tell us about your race. How'd that go overall? Once you got the lead, what were you thinking about as far as weather and strategy, and whether you were going to take wets or dries, or stay on the wets and take dries maybe? What was your strategy there?
Yeah, I mean, main strategy was just to just focus really, because as soon as you lose sight of your corners, those wet spots, those dry spots, it's very easy to lose it, especially here. It's pretty tricky in wet conditions. Um, yeah, no real fuel strategy there. I just kind of pit when I felt like I needed to pit. I knew I didn't want to go dries just because I did see a dry line starting to form, but there were the tricky parts of the circuit were still a bit damp, and I knew that you know just a small margin of error there, I'd have been off. So I didn't risk it there.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of good drivers tonight, as they were in the S's of all places, or not the S's, but the Snake, which is basically S's, but they're in the Snake, and they were losing it in the Snake, which I thought was a little unusual. But I guess there was some puddles out there. We were watching towards the end of the race that there was some heavy rain coming down towards the end of that race, and the track was starting to puddle up quite a bit.
Yeah, the end of that race, that monsoon that came through that was really tricky.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was going to hit by the end of the race, but sure enough, it did. That's the way our race administrators like it, I think, sometimes. But anyway, so next week we're at Road Atlanta, and how do you feel about going there next week? Do you plan on staying in the Austin?
Unfortunately, I will be gone for. I travel for work, so I will be gone for next Saturday. So I will be back.
Yeah, we're slowly losing you there, Derek. I don't know if you're moving away from your mic or we're losing your mic. We'll give you one last chance to shout out anybody that you want to thank for getting this win for you here tonight.
Yeah, just shout out to my buddy Dakota that was watching the whole and since from.
Yeah, I think we've lost too much of you there, Derek. So hey, congrats on that win, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks whenever you make it back from your work trip. And congrats again for this win. So next up is Nathan Graham. Why don't we bring him up here? Nathan Graham, this is what happens when you work by yourself up here in the booth. I just moved myself out of the broadcast booth, so that shows you how talented I am. As I was trying to move Derek out of the broadcast booth. But hey, Nathan Graham, so congrats for that second place finish. You had a little bit of an incident early on. I think you had a little bit of an off track and moved you back a little bit, but you managed to recover that second place. How were those conditions tonight?
Yeah, that was super tough. I had a lot of mistakes actually. I might have spun off the track 3 or 4 times.
Well,
Just
it's a
trying
good thing we didn't catch them all. So
I'm glad you didn't.
I think we caught all Brian Provost. So it's a good thing that he's not in the booth because Brian probably had a lot.
Oh
off
man.
you.
Yeah, it was tough out there. I didn't practice in the rain, which was dumb on me. So that was a lot of learning as we go. But it was a super fun race. I'm sweating a lot though.
Well, was there any thought at the midpoint of this race when you had to make that pit stop of going to dry tires?
Not really. Like, we had 5 laps left. Provo and I were talking, actually, seeing if we thought it'd be feasible. But as the laps kept going, getting closer to that midway pit stop, it just wasn't dry enough, I don't think.
So next week we're at Road Atlanta. What do you have for Road Atlanta? Do you plan on being there? I know you got a busy schedule, just like our first place winner. So not sure you're going to be there. I know that you try to get to these races when you can, but curious.
Yeah.
Curious
I
if you're
should
going to run it.
should be there, and I actually love that track, so that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, get some practice in and drive a good race.
Yeah, hopefully we can do it in the dry too this time.
That'd be fun. Yeah.
Well, anyway, who do you have to thank for getting you this podium tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank the Jam Printing and Promotions, MK Fire Design, and Zach Graphics, VSPEED for putting on an awesome show here, Alexander PCs, and obviously Goat Locker Racing for putting on this whole league. It's been super fun, and I appreciate everything they do for the veteran community. And then my team, Part-Time Pros, Provo and I, and Ryan Pendleton's in it as well. But I want to thank them for the fun times.
All right. Well, thank you, Nathan, and congrats again. We'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right. That was Nathan Graham. Now we'll bring up our last podium finisher, Big Daddy Jeremy Gardner. Do you have a copy?
Sure.
So, I've been up in the broadcast booth all night by myself, and you were my pick of the night. You managed to pull off a third place. I thought you might have second, but talk to me about your night. It was kind of up and down.
Yeah, up and down ain't even the word for it. It was fun. I mean, it was definitely different. VIR is definitely my better track, especially when it's dry. But nah, I came into the night just going to play it smooth. Just try to hit my line, try to avoid everything I can, not try to overdrive it and kill somebody and be that guy. But overall, it went smooth there towards the end. I think I had a P2 in the bag. I think I could have held Nathan off because he had about 10 seconds and I don't know, 5 laps left. They said I was good on fuel, and then all of a sudden it wasn't good on fuel, so I was just going to play it safe. Everybody was a lap down, so I was like, worst case, I'm going to finish 4th. So, I mean, whatever. So I just went ahead and pitted and just took fuel. But overall, it's fun.
That's what I was curious about when you headed to pit lane there late in the race. I was thinking that you had enough to get all the way, and then I seen Nathan Graham get around you. You looked pretty slow when he got around you because you were dropping off the pace a little bit. So I wasn't sure if you went in for tires or fuel or what the situation was, but that kind of explains it.
Yeah, I dropped. I was going to try and save fuel and just cruise around. I think I had a 36-second lead on Provo, and then I was like, nah, I'm still not going to make it. So I was like, I'm just going to play it safe pit, and if I take a P4, whatever.
One last question, because I know you've been around this track in real life. I know we've talked about it. Have you ever done it in the rain in real life?
I ride bikes on it, so I definitely ain't riding it in the rain, especially on the North Course.
That's what I thought.
We do about 180 through that kink on North Course, so I damn sure ain't going to do that in the rain.
So you're probably sitting in first after tonight's race in the points, and I think you've gotten a top 3 every race so far this season. So you're almost there. I know that win's going to be coming. What do you have for Road Atlanta next week?
I run decent there. I wouldn't say I run really well there, but I mean, I'm hit or miss there. I think I run pretty good there. I don't know. I was really looking forward to tonight, and it's kind of a bummer I didn't win it, but I mean, whatever. I still finished P3, like you said. I've been P3 every race this season so far. I mean, it's crazy to see how much I progressed in GT3, considering I'm just an oval guy. But we'll take it.
I wouldn't say that. No, you. Every time I see you out on the track here on the road side, you are fast. So I think you're going to have to drop that label of being an oval racer. I'll call some other guys oval racers, but I think you can do both. So
yeah, we're getting there.
Anyway, who do you have to thank for getting you on the podium tonight?
iRacing, MK Fire Design. Appreciate them helping out the series. Appreciate Tim, everything he does. Pat and Jamie, Jake, everybody, GLR, Sim Motion. Of course, y'all guys for putting on the broadcast tonight. I can't wait to go back and watch it.
Yeah,
My
we'll
guys,
see. We'll see how I did because I was in the booth solo tonight. I didn't have any help, so you have to tell
I'm
me
sure
how
you
bad
did
I
fine,
screwed
man.
this one up. We'll see how bad I screwed this one up.
Nah, you probably did fine.
Anyway, well, thank you, Jeremy. We'll see you next week at Road Atlanta, I guess.
Yes, sir. See you then.
All right. Well, there you have it, Jeremy Gardner, our third place finisher, and that's going to wrap things up for tonight at VIR. I want to thank our sponsors. Once again, that's MK Fire Design, custom wooden flags, shirts, and hoodies. Along with Zach Graphics, we can put your design on almost anything. And Save 22, fighting first responder and veteran suicide. On behalf of myself, Tim Jones, and cameras provided by Dougie Beard, I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me tonight here on VSPEED, and we'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.